Welcome back to Live from Paris. Business is next. William Edwards is here. Hello to you, William.
Hi, Rebecca.
So, Facebook stock market launch. We've been hearing all about it for a long time. Loads of hype, and it will be the biggest ever.
It's finally going to happen. May the 18th is the date we're looking at for, and they have set now a price range for the shares, $28 to $35 per share. What that equals altogether is a company worth $95 billion altogether. Now, Google, when that launched on the stock market in 2004, that was valued at $23 billion. So,
peanuts now, eh?
Peanuts, exactly. $23 billion is nothing compared to Facebook's value. It could move higher, of course, in early trading as well, beyond the $100 billion barrier. This would make it worth as much as established companies like Amazon and Cisco Systems just in its first week on the stock market. Now, of course, there are a few worries. Facebook did report its first drop in revenue between quarters in 2 years last week, and it's got 900 million users now. Now, that's a huge number, but there are concerns. How much further can it go? Of course, it's not allowed in China, one of the biggest growing internet powerhouses, and it's expanded into the number one social network in most Western countries already. But nevertheless, it seems to be a hot property on the IPO watch list at the moment.
We're concerned that most of its growth might actually be behind it. Now we're going to stay with the technology sector, and Samsung has launched a new version of what is currently the world's best-selling smartphone. While the Galaxy handset has stolen the top spot from Apple's iPhone, the South Korean firm faces a number of challenges if it wants to stay at number one.
It's Samsung's top-of-the-range smartphone, the one that has propelled the South Korean giant to the number one spot on the list of cell phone makers in the world.
I'm very excited to finally introduce the next Galaxy, the Galaxy S3.
The new device is slimmer, faster, has a bigger screen and a face recognition software. The built-in camera is also quicker, and the Galaxy S3 will allow you to watch videos and read your emails at the same time. Samsung smartphones are flying off shelves. Sales went up by 267% between the first quarter of 2011 and this year. A third of all smartphones sold in the world during the first quarter of 2012 were Samsung phones.
With this phone, they've put some bells and whistles on this, but I think the big problem is we just don't know what the competition is yet, because Apple surely has another iPhone around the corner, and that's when we'll find out how competitive this product is.
Samsung is number one this year in terms of sales, but Apple continues to set the standard with its iPhone 5 and iPad. Both companies together rake in 99% of profits on all cell phone sales. Outside the South Korean company, few can compete. Nokia failed to jump on the smartphone and tablet bandwagon early enough. The Finnish giant saw its profit drop by 90% over the last year. It's still the second largest cell phone maker in the world, but shareholders fear the company could never catch up.
Well, it doesn't look so good, but I think the main problem is this, that Nokia doesn't have
Samsung, on the other hand, saw its net income jump by over 80% in the first quarter to some 3.3 billion euros.
So some pretty stunning results for Samsung there. Has this impacted on the markets at all?
Well, it's put up their shares, yes, but more broadly, Asian markets are a bit more mixed. Let's take a look at the figures. As you can see, the Hang Seng and the Kospi firmly in negative territory there. The Shanghai Composite is just about struggling in the green, but I should mention as well the Nikkei is closed on a holiday today. But this is on concerns that US jobs figures out later today may be disappointing. And also the European Central Bank, they met yesterday, kept interest rates very low, which the markets were pleased about, but they didn't really announce any other policies to try and get unemployment down across the Eurozone from over 10% at the moment.
Which perhaps the markets would have liked to see. Now we're moving to Argentina next, where a controversial energy law has sailed through Congress. Well,
yeah, this is the Argentinian government. They're taking over, they're requisitioning Repsol, the Spanish energy company, their slice of YPF, an oil company in Argentina. The Repsol stake is worth $10.5 billion as it stands, the investment, but at the moment they're not going to be getting a penny. Now, the amount is going to be decided, how much they're going to be paid off, but of course the Spanish government and presumably Repsol itself very concerned that this won't be considered as market market rates. It is going to be decided by an Argentinian court how much they're owed. They turned down the idea of an independent company estimating the price. So as you can see, those people there were celebrating the passing of the law in Argentina. They were pleased because Argentinian energy prices have been kept low by these sort of policies, but the worry is that in future will outside companies want to invest if their investments can be taken away, as this new law now allows.
Only time will tell. Next, it's a year of festivities in the UK as 2012 sees both the Olympics in London and the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And what better way to celebrate than with a glass of English sparkling wine? Our correspondent's been to visit a producer who's struggling to keep up with the demand.
French winemaker Didier Pierson inspects his vines, looking for signs of frost.
You can see it's green on the inside. It's all good.
The land is perfect for wide varieties, and yet this is not France. Pierson, who owns vineyards in Champagne, has extended his property to the south of England.
The undersoil's mainly chalk. It's very important for Chardonnay in particular, since it really likes chalk. In these conditions, we can make very fine wine.
Very fine sparkling wine. This is what the Ridgeview estate produces since 1994. And their success is only growing.
We've grown from a small enterprise of 24,000 bottles or so, and last year we bottled just under 250,000 bottles. We have a constant excess of demand over our ability to supply.
In this professional wine fair, sparkling wines are the clients' favorites. Even more so, as 2012 is a year rich in British festivities.
A lot of the wine trade are buying English wines to celebrate the Jubilee and the Olympics, and that has been a big message that we've been putting out too. Our logo this year says celebrate with English wine. We must in this year.
Until now, England hasn't been a big wine exporter, yet it hopes to increase its sales. Its sparkling winemakers are expected to produce 5 million bottles in 2015.
Needless to say, William, our French colleagues are taking the Michael this morning.
Yeah, I think that's very unfair.
They're not fans, are they, of English sparkling wine? Now, Airbus has been hit by the trouble that they're having at Australian flag carrier Qantas. What's that about?
Yes, of course, Qantas has been hit by labour disputes and high fuel prices. And to cut costs, they're now delaying the delivery of 2 A380 Super Jumbos from Airbus. It's part of a further $410 million in spending cuts. The company already announced around $500 million in spending cuts in February. They're really trying to get things back under control. But these Airbus A380s were going to be delivered in 2013. That's been pushed back to 2016. So a bit of damage affecting the European manufacturer as well as the Australian flag carrier there.
As Qantas tries to tighten its belt a bit. Finally, executive pay very much on the agenda. It's gone far beyond the likes of the Occupy movement now.
Yeah, now, of course, traditionally, perhaps this has been a left-wing concern recently, particularly since the financial crisis, the amount that executives are paid. But it's now very much front and centre for businesses themselves and particularly for shareholders. Yesterday, insurance company Aviva was the latest to face a revolt over executive pay. Andrew Moss's pay will climb by 6.7% to €3.2 million for 2011. But shares of the company, they were down by 47% in 2011. So you can see that sort of disconnect, and this caused shareholders to vote against his pay increase. Now, in fact, the company says it's going to go ahead with it anyway because this vote wasn't binding, so that's probably going to incense them further. Also, Sly Bailey, the chief executive of Trinity Mirror, she said she's going to step down after shareholders questioned her pay package of £1.7 million. And they're not alone either. UBS, Citigroup, Barclays, AstraZeneca, all of these companies have faced some level or another of questioning over executive pay in recent months.
Executive pay under the microscope there. Many thanks for that update on everything going on in the business world, William Edwards. Do stay with us here on Live from Paris. Lorna Shattuck is coming up with the headlines in just a moment. Bye-bye.